When you think of population growth in Central Texas, you probably automatically think of traffic. You might also consider rising home prices, crowded schools, or gentrification. But tonight in our latest Boomtown 2040 report, we're going to talk about something a little more personal. KVUE's Christy Millward takes a look at the impact the growth in Central Texas has on religion.
Even as religious affiliation in America declines, you may see the growth in Central Texas every weekend when the pews at your church are more full than they used to be, parking is more difficult, or your faith group moves a meeting so you don't have to fight traffic. While some tell me finding a religious group isn't the first thing on their to-do list when they move to town, others say it's something they need to feel grounded and stable. Either way, the growth is having an impact. Here at Gateway Church in North Austin, the music is loud. The members' arms are open, and the Sunday service is almost full.
They lifted their voices together in prayer to God.
Thanks to the Central Texas population boom, the number of voices here continues to grow. John Burke started the church 20 years ago with 10 people in a house.
Our motto is "Come as you are," and no perfect people allowed.
Now they have 4 locations and about 5,000 members. But while getting bigger, Burke says their challenge is staying small.
It's hard to keep that intimate relational connection.
That's why they're building 2 new campuses in the Butte-Kyle area and in Pflugerville to keep that close community connection. And they're not the only faith group looking to build. Scott Whitaker with the Catholic Diocese of Austin says they currently have almost 40 construction projects in the works worth about $95 million.
It's pretty significant growth that we've seen over the last 16 years.
He says the diocese has doubled in members in that time, now with about 140,000 households, and they're trying to keep up.
So that was pretty amazing, that the fact that 20 years ago none of this was here, and now look at what we are.
Whitaker shows me an example of that growth at St. Vincent de Paul Catholic Church in Round Rock. Less than 20 years old, they now have 1,500 registered families. They're also planning for growth at the North Austin Muslim Community Center.
We now have to have 3 different services because this space would not allow for one service.
Islam Mossad is the imam and says they hope to build a new mosque in the next year to help create more space.
I myself doubt that even after it is built that would be sufficient. I think with Austin growing the way it is growing in the past few years, that we will continue to need to have expansion.
At the First Presbyterian Church, Pastor Elizabeth McLean says they see the growth in their preschool and Sunday school classes.
We do not have an empty room anymore.
But yet, she says they're looking to add even more classes and age groups to keep up with demand.
There is a stream of people and telephone calls.
But some religious communities are seeing a different impact due to their location. Reverend Mike Adams at All Saints Episcopal Church says the diocese is building more churches, but they're further out, leaving this 120-year-old establishment located near UT's campus without that growth.
Most of our folk nowadays live away. We're not really a neighborhood church.
Adams says they've canceled their weeknight services and gatherings due to members not wanting to fight traffic.
Most of our meetings that we used to have in the evening are now at lunchtime when people tend to be more closer to downtown area.
Instead, he says they're pouring their efforts into their community outreach programs like helping the homeless.
We see a lot more folks in need of assistance than we used to.
It's a sentiment that can also be used to describe the need for newcomers to find their faith home here in Central Texas. In efforts to reach more people, religious groups aren't confining themselves to the 4 walls of a traditional church-style building. Some are holding faith-based events in movie theaters, bars, or coffee shops. They're creating spiritually focused podcasts and even streaming their Sunday service online. Now, we talked to several other faith groups, but couldn't include all of them in this story. So if you're seeing another impact where you worship, be sure to let us know. With this Boomtown 2040 report, I'm Christy Millward, KVUE News.
And if you have any Boomtown 2040 ideas you want us to look into, email us at boomtown2040@kvue.com.